were with us last month. Last month, we were able to look at the topic International Student Admission Challenges and Solution. And in a quest to actually, in that last webinars section, a lot of interesting things was actually discussed. And in a quest to answer some of the questions in our mind and in the mind of those who are actually seeking admission, we decided to take another interesting topic for this July edition. And today we'll be looking at international educational needs. And one of the major features for tonight, in which I want us to open our heart to actually learn from, is actually postgraduate research, expanding your knowledge abroad. As we all know, it is one of the quests of everybody to actually study outside the shore of their country. And majorly because they always like to experience another part of themselves in another different setting, bringing out the best in them. And because of that, that's why we actually decide to bring out this so that we can learn one or two things. And today we have a scholar in our midst which will be taking us through a lot of things which will be beneficial to us. First of all, he will be taking us through some of the challenges that one can actually come across studying abroad. And he will also be opening us to a lot of opportunities in which we can take, we can actually get. Those opportunities are actually something we need to actually jot down, because I know there are things we want to actually also take part in. Also, she will be taking us through some of the impact in which you can actually make. Also, she'll be sharing with us some of our experiences, which I believe experience is also the master key. In some of those experiences from there, we can also ask various questions which might be bothering our mind, or a lot of questions. We are actually there to actually give you the right answer and the right answer per time. Just feel free, relax, because this is actually the best atmosphere in which you can get something like this. Is actually a great opportunity to actually learn something new concerning, because I believe at the end of this webinar today, our mind will have been open to a lot of things, which will actually make it easy for us to navigate through that pathway of success in which we actually be desiring. Don't forget, this is actually studied globally. Any of your questions, any of your concern, please drop them, and we'll be willing to actually answer you speedily. Once again, I want to welcome each and every one of us. Please feel free, ensure you jot one or two things, and ensure you actually take the action point to heart. And I believe the sky will actually be our starting point. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Mr. Olushola. Thank you for that wonderful opening remark. Once again, welcome everyone to this wonderful webinar. Next, we'll be going forward with the keynote address from our programs manager, Mr. Onyekachi Igwe. And I'm assuring you that this is going to be a wonderful section. Thank you all. Mr. Kachi, on to you.
Thank you very much. I'm standing on the existing protocols. I'm actually doing this on behalf of our international director, who's supposed to be here, but unavoidably absent. On behalf of our team, I want to especially thank you for finding time to join us for this July webinar. We have observed with time that in the last few decades, 2021, who are looking for international education, want to study abroad. So a webinar like this actually answers a lot of questions that are probing what should they study? The US, for example, is through studies. So many persons in the last few months have written a lot of international English language test system exams as IELTS exams, because they want to see a way to find themselves out of the country. And they've looked at the education way as one of the ways in which they can go about it. So now, there are a lot of questions as to what can one actually study. So that now brings to mind why this webinar exists, why this webinar is holding today. So for those questions many of us are having, the challenges we're having, it is an opportunity for us to bring them to the front burner and allow the guest speaker talk to us, address those burning questions, and at the end of the day, we'll go back home with a lot to be able to reflect on. And as answers begin to come out, we know that we are settled as per decisions we can make or take as to what we want to study when we go out to the country. We know so well that one of the reasons many people want to leave the country, aside the fact of our economy not being so stable as it were, is that many of them want to see what happens, what is obtainable in other developed countries. So in Nigeria, for example, in Africa, we know that in a lecture hall that has maybe about 100 persons to one teacher, to one lecturer, as it were, it's not the case over there in the US, where you have like maybe one teacher or one lecturer to 20 students. The facilities are a lot available. People get to see different things from different perspectives when they get to have the kind of international education. So a program like this, or a webinar like this, is something that is interesting to many. So I would like us to just sit down. If we have our questions, we can please write them in the chat box. And I'm pretty sure that only because of the question and answer time, you also have opportunity of asking your questions, and I'm sure the answer shall be provided. In the meantime, I want to thank you for staying put, and I will encourage you to just sit back and be relaxed, write your questions, follow what is going on in the chat box, and also listen attentively to the guest speaker, even as I leave now. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful time as we proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kachi, for that wonderful address. As you've all heard, put down your pen and paper so that you can take down wonderful notes, because our speaker is fully loaded. She is a wonderful person. And introducing the speaker is Mr. Uchenna Nwafo. Uchenna.
All right, thank you, Queen. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once more to this month's webinar. I'm really excited to have us all here, and I'm really pumped about the conversations we're going to have today. Yeah, joining us today as guest speaker in this month's edition is a superwoman. She's a high-level professional by name Karen Oche. Karen Oche Karen Oche is a first-class graduate of petroleum engineering from the from Covenant University, Ota, Nigeria. Currently, she's pursuing a fully funded dual master's degree in petroleum engineering and data science and analytics at the University of Oklahoma, USA, where she also doubles as a graduate and research and teaching assistant. Interestingly, she's the president of the Society of Petroleum Engineer, SPE, University of Oklahoma Student Chapter. She's also HSGD Chair and Society of Women Engineers Chapter President and BP Ambassador of our college. Karen has volunteered in several capacities and served as Conference Chair of the Annual Mathematics Conference and Exhibition 2020. Today, she'll be sharing with us insights on the topic, international education needs, postgraduate research, expanding your knowledge abroad. So without further ado, let's welcome Karen Oche. Karen, it's so good to have you with us today. Hello, Karen, are you there?
It's so good to be here as well. Yes, I am here. Can you?
All right, you have the floor now.
All right. Thank you very much. Without further ado, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this platform. It's a privilege. Without further ado, I'll just go ahead and share my slides. Okay, let me know when you can see my presentation.
Yeah, we can see it now.
All right, so good day everyone, wherever you might be dialing in from. It's still afternoon here, but I know it's evening back home in Nigeria. Like I have been earlier introduced, my name is Karen Ochie, and I'm currently pursuing my graduate studies at the University of Oklahoma. So I'm pursuing a dual degree in data science and petroleum engineering. So this presentation is for 35 minutes. I'll try to breeze through it. Hopefully that should be enough time. So first off, the outline for the presentation today, I'm going to be talking on challenges, opportunities, impact, and I'll share a couple of experiences with you. And first off, I'll start from my personal journey, right? So after I graduated university in 2018, I wanted to work. I always had the vision of being a career woman very early on in my career. So I started applying to schools before I graduated university. I got a job. I left there at some point to go for NYSC. I got a job in another oil servicing company, and it was pretty good. But then, so I was to serve with them for 1 year, and at the end of the year, they were to make me a permanent staff. But for some reason, when it was time to make me permanent staff, they said I had to sign a bond for before I could take up that role. So I was really deliberating if I should do that, given that a lot of my friends had gone for graduate studies and I was considering it too. Mind you, I wasn't just considering the US. So that's the conception many people have. A misconception rather. I was considering everywhere, right? I didn't just want to I just wanted to school abroad, basically. I just wanted to have a new feel. So I applied to schools in the US, I applied to schools in the UK, I applied to schools in Canada, I applied to schools in, not applied, but reached out to people or submitted. For the UK, I submitted applications, I got admissions, and I applied for scholarships. And I was in the middle of the PTDF scholarship before COVID hit. Canada, so I was talking to professors and things like that. But then the US pulled through, and I stopped all the plans I had. I applied to IFP in France too. I got to the last stage, but they could not give me scholarship. I'm glad they didn't. Either ways. So I really wanted to go for graduate school. So I knew signing the bond was not a wise decision because I knew I wanted to leave at some point because I felt at the time, timing was on my side, you know. I come from an Igbo family and it has been hammered into my head from a very young age how after school or after a while, you know, your biological clock is ticking, you're supposed to settle down, get married and all of that. So I really wanted to, do all of these things while I was still in my prime, also apply for scholarships. And my mom kept fussing about how my brain was still hot in quotes that, she wanted me to go immediately, but I wanted to work. So eventually I called a couple of people, did some research, and one of my mentors, my project supervisor in school, actually reached out to me and he said, do the math, right? The month, your salary in the number of years you're signing the bond, can it offset the bond? I said, no, it's not even up to half. He said, then it doesn't make sense. It is not an economically efficient decision. So I left and I joined Mobile, where I interned for a little over a year. So while I left them, my previous place, I got ready for my exams, my GRE exams. I wrote my GRE exams in a month. So I prepared for it in a month rather, and I was still working at this time, mind you. So after I prepared for my exams, I started reaching out to potential supervisors. When my GRE score came out, it wasn't high enough for the school for OU. So I, irrespective, reached out to the student liaison that then. I reached out to her and sent her my profile because in the US, schooling is a holistic process. It's not just one thing they consider. I mean, in my IELTS, I had an 8.0, and they needed a 6.5. I finished with the first class from Covenant University. I had a publication. I volunteered a lot, you know. So it was just my GRE score that didn't meet the requirements they wanted. So I just sent her everything I had, you know. It wasn't just my GRE, it was just the math portion of my GRE score, because my verbal, I had a good score, and my essay, I had a 4.0. So that's a good score too. So she said she thinks I have a good profile. I should go ahead and apply, and I applied. And after applying, I got admission, right? And funding. I got admission first, and then I reached out to her again, and then I got funding, and here we are, right? So that has been my personal journey in the US, right? So that's the story of how I finished school and I got to where I am. So currently, I'm a teaching assistant, right? So that means I assist professors in teaching or in preparing for courses, basically when they teach, right? But when you come for your master's in the US, there are two options. There is the thesis-based and the non-thesis-based, right? So for the thesis-based, it means you're going to be doing research. For the non-thesis-based, you're not going to be doing research. You just do projects and mostly coursework. So for the thesis-based, you do, irrespective of the kind of assistantship or funding offer you have, you're going to be working on research, and you're going to have to propose a thesis before you graduate. It's a requirement. But then you can be funded as a graduate teaching assistant or a graduate research assistant. A graduate teaching assistant means you assist professors in their classes, which is what I typically used to do in the fall and spring semesters. Well, in the spring semester, and I'll be doing in the fall. But a graduate research assistant means you assist professors in their research. So it means you personally have to have like similar areas of interest in their research. When I got to the US, I decided that I wanted to start my research early on. So as a TA, I had the luxury of choosing who I wanted to work with. So I did, and I reached out to my supervisor. And this summer, I have been working as an RA, that's a research assistant. Now, on arriving in the US, some challenges I had were choosing the research topic I wanted to do, right? Because this is going to be the next couple of years of my life that would have a great definition on the rest of my life. So it really was a big deal for me. Okay, there's some chats in the chat box. Let me see if there is. Okay, there is nothing for me yet. Okay. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat box. So this was a phase of my life that was going to define the rest of my life, well, the bulk of the rest of my life. So I really wanted to do something research that was significant, majorly because I had always felt limited somewhat, right? That as a petroleum engineer, I only got to work in the oil and gas industry because when there is downturn in the oil price, the volatility affects me. I'm saying this because while I was in Mobile, I was also in the recruitment process of Baker Hughes, but it all got hung, no feedback, no forward because of the oil price volatility at the time, right? So I really wanted to like open up doors for myself to know that, you know, I mean, I'm still good to go work in the oil and gas industry, but then I still have other opportunities I can pursue if I decide, okay, I don't want to do oil and gas anymore, right? So I really wanted to do a research that I could juxtapose all of it. So it was a challenge for me looking for a professor that, you know, basically was good in all the areas I was interested in. I mean, this is even before I came to OU, because when you're applying to professors, you want to apply to professors that you will work with in the line of research. So when I finally got to OU, I was torn between doing research in geothermal energies or carbon sequestration and capture, right? I mean, during the pandemic, I had attended conferences. I used to attend a lot of SPE talks like this. And in one of them, the then president of SPE, Shauna, she came on and she told us how, as a petroleum engineer, there are other areas of the energy industry, your skills are deeply utilized. And those were some of the areas. And as I didn't want to stay away completely from the oil and gas, those were good areas to go into. So I was torn between those options. So I was like, okay, my school is very known for geothermal research, right? carbon capture is upcoming, it seems something more interested to me because like I'm really interested in gas engineering. So I'm like, okay, let me go that route and see how it works. If it works for me, fine. If it doesn't, I'll fall back to geothermal. And I was lucky enough, I reached out to a professor in my department. He was interested in working with me. So I have been researching for him since I got to OU, and this summer I'm a full research assistant for him. Now, in all of this, I mean, I've said I do a lot of things because this I'm saying now are things that were not read in my bio, because there are other things I do, like I'm the president of SPE, I'm the high school days chair for Society of Women Engineers, I'm a member of Geothermal Rising, I still volunteer for SPE Lagos section, right, till my board tenure ends. And I still try to have a social life, right? Because I didn't want to just go through the school. I want the school to go through me as well. One critical thing I'm going to say that is very, very paramount is time management. It is almost always a challenge, right? And that goes hand in hand with discipline. So in all of these things I have said, planning, organizing is very important, especially if you want to excel as a research student in the US. You have to know when to push yourself, when to lay back, when to move forward, when to lean back, and things like that. So I can say that's one of the challenges that I have. I mean, not like I'm always having, I try to have a schedule, I have a to-do list, but it's like there's almost never enough time to do stuff, right? So it's something that, I mean, it's good. It's a good thing I've been able to identify it as a challenge because it's one of the areas that I building on. Now, another thing I want to talk about are the opportunities you start to gain, coming for your research in the US, basically, or becoming a research student. I mean, if you just listen to my presentation, it seems like it's a lot. It's a lot. I won't lie. It is a lot. It's a whole new definition of stress, right? But it is definitely worth it. And I'll show you that in experiences. It is worth it. There are so many opportunities. I mean, this is not the first session I'm having. And if you want like more detailed sessions on breakdown of all the steps I did, I have done a couple of YouTube videos or webinars actually I posted on YouTube. You can check them out. But it seems stressful, right? From the moment you say, I want to go to grad school, considering the schools you say you want to go to, considering professors you want to email, writing exams required, sending in your applications, your statement of purpose, arriving in the US, getting your visa date. It's honestly, everything is a new phase of challenge, right? But the good thing is, with those challenges come different opportunities, and those opportunities are worth it. For me personally, the first opportunity I've been able to identify by deciding to come to the US for my grad school or my research is a dual degree in data science, right? Because when I was in Nigeria, I tried to apply to schools in Canada to do like data science. I got to like the final stage of MasterCard. I was kept on the waiting list. And it's not like I don't have a good profile. I mean, you do not have to tell me. I know I have a good profile. I just don't have a good profile for that course, right? So their feedback was they put me on the waiting list. They're trying to see if they can get people that majored in computer science first before they consider people from other disciplines. Because let's be honest, it'll still be a struggle for me trying to carry along. It's a bit of a struggle now, right? So but coming to the University of Oklahoma, they had this opportunity where you could do a dual degree. And then, that has been a great one for me because currently I'm doing research in carbon capture, utilization and storage in my state here in Oklahoma. And I'm trying to create like a system-based analysis for carbon capture. And then the software I'm working with is Java-based, but then I have learned a bit of Java in school, and then I'm able to work with that software and a bit of industrial engineering and a bit of gas engineering, and it's just like everything is somehow falling into place. I'm beginning to see the big picture. Another advantage of coming to school in the US is scholarships, right? I keep telling people this. If I had done my master's in Nigeria, I mean, there are very good schools to do your master's in Nigeria. You have the IFP for petroleum engineering, by the way. I heard UI is really good too. I know at some point I was considering Unilag, but I did not even have the money to pay for school fees for Unilag. That is the truth, right? if I had done my master's in Nigeria, the truth of the matter is that I would not have been able to afford it. I mean, I know I went to Covenant, right? And when I talk to people, they're like, are your parents not rich? I mean, my parents are people that they really want their children to have the best education. If you know what that means, it means they sold properties to send us to school. They did everything they could to send us to good schools, right? It'll be very insensitive of me as the first child to finish and tell them I want to go back for my master's when I still have my younger ones coming up. So I would have had to foot the bill, right? And the money I was getting from my salary was not enough for me to still handle the things I do, like, you know, my daily upkeep, and then still save to pay for my master's. I could not have afforded it myself, basically, if I was doing a master's in Nigeria, right? But because I'm coming for research in the US, and, you know, there are some things we do in Nigeria we take for granted that are highly valued here, I was able to be afforded funding, right? Not just funding, right? Because there's funding, there's fellowship, there's scholarship. Funding means I get free tuition waiver. I don't pay tuition in my school. I get free health insurance. So for the major ailments that happen to me, I get free insurance, free medical treatment, and I get a monthly stipend, right? I mean, to them it's a monthly stipend, but when I convert it to Naira, it's money, right? So that handles my upkeep. I mean, I'm glowing, right? Sorry, let me be professional, but it handles my upkeep and all of that. So that's good, right? But then I also have opportunities to apply to scholarships. There are so many scholarships here. Oh my God. After I got to the US, I really wanted to get my GP, because most of them, their requirements is a GP. But let me tell you, before I came to school in the US, when they were reading my bio, I'm sure you heard when they said I'm the BP ambassador for my college, I had the opportunity to apply for a scholarship even before I came to the US, right? Before I even got a GP. And that money went a long way in my life. It helped to offset some of my fees and all of that, right? And there are still more scholarship opportunities. I mean, even if I don't get it, the opportunity, the significance that I can apply for these things, I'm seeing them on a regular. Of course, at times I even feel cheated, because most of the scholarships, of course, are for citizens and people that have permanent residency. And as me, a non-immigrant, my opportunities are short-line. But I'm telling you, those opportunities are still a lot. Another opportunity is internships, right? So in the US, they have this thing where if you're doing your master's in some programs, I mean, for my data science program, it's compulsory, you intern. Aside from that, we have like this summer holiday that's like 4 months. You can do like your internship somewhere, get industry exposure. I've met some people that they've not had any first-hand industry exposure before. This is an opportunity that, you know, it can be easy for you to get. I mean, I'm saying this because I went to a good school. Covenant is a good school through and through. I mean, Covenant is my first internship in this life. They announced it in school and said there is an internship ongoing, apply. I don't know how many people's schools do that, but Covenant is a school that does that. So at least some of these things I'm seeing here are not so strange to me. But that's the way it is in the US. I mean, sometimes you just get emails, this company is currently recruiting, apply, or I mean, it's not all the time, right? But it happens. And for those that apply, you can get in, right? So those are some of the opportunities that are available. From internships, you can probably land a permanent job and all of that. Another thing is a better future, right? So being able to get an international degree is something highly valued. I'm telling you, because I heard when I was doing internship when I was doing my internship, they pay people that studied internationally a different payments for people that study non-internationally. I mean, I've seen job adverts where they will tell you international masters is an added advantage. I mean, aside from that, now you're getting to meet new people, learn from different people, you know, getting to see new cultures. I mean, the amount of cultures I've been able to experience since I came to the US, things I didn't even know that they were real, like languages I didn't even know that they existed, countries I never even knew that they even existed. So you get to like meet new people. I mean, especially if you're like a very outgoing person like me, that you like meeting people and you're not shy to talk to people. That leads me to the last opportunity, networking. You get to build your network. You don't just have local network. You're no longer a local champion. You now have international network. You now have international network. You have like friends, from different parts of the world. When I was in Nigeria, it's like I had like a boxed mentality. So this is myself I'm speaking of, right? I did not even believe that maybe when you're having an event, you invite somebody. I remember when I was the petroleum engineering chair for EAGE, and I invited facilitators from different parts of the world. It was a big deal, right? It was a big deal. It was a big event. Our presidents attended and all of that. But like here, you see those kind of opportunities at your footstep, right? As your doorstep, right? So you're able to network with people, talk to people, hear other languages, see other cultures. You're also able to build your diversity and inclusion, right? So like, since I came here, things like we are from different tribes, or it doesn't even matter, because all the Nigerians here, we are literally one, because there are people from other parts of the world, other colors, other hair textures. So it kind of expands your reach, opens your eyes, gives you exposure. Next thing, I'm going to be talking about the impact. Of course, I cannot overflow the fact that, coming for my research, a consequence of coming for a research-based master's in the US is me getting a petroleum engineering degree and my data science degree. I don't know how I want to flog it again, because if I was doing a course-based master's, right, the truth is that my parents would have been required to pay. Like I said, my parents, okay, let me not say they cannot pay, but I will not even want my parents to pay for me in Nigeria, not to talk more of abroad. No, they're not doing that. Another impact it has had on me is it has given me more exposure and more visibility, right? I mean, you're listening to me today because I came to the US for my master's. If I didn't, you probably would not know who I am. So it has given me exposure, and not just to me, because I believe that if you're opportune, and I know not everybody sees the world this way, but I believe that if you're opportune, God has given you the grace to attend a particular position. You get a reason why. There is a reason why. The only thing you can do is at least people around you, let them see the world through your eyes. So I try as much as possible for my family, for my friends, to see the world through my eyes. This thing I'm seeing here, this food I'm eating, good food I'm eating, good roads. From time to time, I share pictures with my family, with my friends, let them see and let them know, oh, these things are actually here, So I try to also carry my family members along. Another thing is, like I said, income. I'm able to afford for my master's degree here. My school also pays me a stipend. I'm able to cater for my living, for my accommodation. I pay my rent myself. I do my groceries myself. I plan my money myself, and it's actually, I'm in school and I'm reading, but to be honest with you, we are all Nigerians, hopefully on this call. It has been a growth from my previous place, and mind you, I was interning at ExxonMobil, right? So those are some of the impacts, coming to school here coming for research here has given to me. So I don't know how much time I have, but I'll try to wrap up in a bit. Experiences. So that is the conclusion. Have I had good experiences? Plenty. If any of you know me in this meeting and you've met me in person, you will know that on a good day, I'm a very cheerful person. I'm a very buoyant person. I like to live life, right? I like to maximize opportunities, and I don't just stop at me. I like my family and friends to see it, especially through my WhatsApp status and my LinkedIn, right? It's not a matter of pressuring anybody or stuff like that. It's just to encourage people. Like I said, remember I said I decided to come for my master's in years because my friends had traveled. How did I know? Right? Because I saw they had traveled, I saw the good life they were living, I saw how things were better for them. I called some of them, actually discussed with them, told them to give me the breakdown. How is it going? How is it going? Are you able to cope? Because it's honestly, there are sometimes I sleep by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and I wake up 6 o'clock to continue again, like to continue pushing the grind. It's stressful, but are those bad experiences or not so good experiences enough to deter me? No, It is not enough to deter the pursuit. That is the truth. Because when I finished my master's degree, whether I decide to come back home to Nigeria or not, it is an added advantage to me, to my CV, and I didn't pay for it, right? Now, I'm going to be sharing some of the experiences with you. So these are some of the not so good experiences. So the picture by the left is a day when I was out of it. I mean, you see the way I'm looking there. That's a couple of weeks back because it's still the same hair. I'm taking some classes this semester that is draining my soul, but still, I don't mind because I know it's only for a while, right? I mean, combining classes, research, work, it's not easy, to be honest with you. It's not easy, but is it enough to deter the pursuit? It's not. The picture to the left is an exam we had because, like, for my data science degree, I had to take a statistics course, and oh my God, did that course stress me? Yes, it did. It did stress me because, I mean, after I wrote my GRE, I was a bit rusty. I had not been in the classroom for a while, and I was taking a course, statistics course. It was a lot for me, but you know how we roll. Then, for the great experiences, of course, there are a lot. If you notice, the pictures of the great experiences are more than the ones of the not so good, just to tell you, to encourage you that it is doable, it is achievable, and it is worth it, right? It is worth it. So the picture here, the one with Love OU, I went for like a career fair, took pictures, with my friends. The one where I'm in the blue keke napep, I can't remember the name, but it's actually an Indian thing. I went for like the Indian festival at my school. The one in the middle, I went golfing in Nigeria. I could not even afford to go for mini golf. I could not even afford to go for mini golf, not to talk of full golf with golf clubs and all of that. I mean, the one at the bottom, it was on the US Independence Day. I went for a concert, I mean, these are things I normally will not do in Nigeria, right? Because when I think of the stress of jumping boards, I'm like, okay, let me take Uber. I'm like, the Uber money has finished paying for the concert. I'll calculate. Uber money is 2 days of going to work. Oh God. I mean, it's quite different. The mentality here is really different, if I'm being honest with you. And the picture to the far left is I went for a career fair basically, and these are like our school's mascots, So I mean, I just thought to show a couple of pictures, just maybe it'll encourage you. So having said that, I'll let me see if I'm keeping time. I guess I am. I'll try to wrap up. Is doing your postgraduate research important? Yes, it's important. Why? Because you're adding value to the world via your intellect, right? And you're getting a master's degree. So if you finish and you say you don't want to do research anymore, you want to work, fine and good. You go ahead and work. Is it cost effective? Yes, because most research-based masters are sponsored. And if you want to get like sponsored education, I mean, not just in the US, mind you, in Canada, in the UK, once you're doing research, you mostly will be sponsored because you're supposed to contribute, right? And if you feel like you're academically sound, I feel like God put us on this earth. I mean, I'm a Christian for a reason, right? And if God has made you smart, I feel like it is your basic civic responsibility to use that brain for something good, right? You should try to leave your impact on the stand of time. And if that's going to give you and make it comfortable, I mean, I'm not saying I have money, I'm just saying if that is going to put food on the table, fine and good. I mean, it's like one stone, multiple beds. So those are my final words. So if you have questions, I'll take them now.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Like, that's been a wonderful session. I've actually learned a lot, and I believe everyone here has learned a lot too from this session. So we're going straight to the question and answer sections. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments box using Q for questions. So I'll be asking the first question from Chia Dozier. He said, is there a particular reason why Ms. Karen is studying a dual degree? If yes, is it related to climate change?
I can hear you. My double degree is in petroleum engineering and data science, right? So in petroleum engineering, I'm studying petroleum engineering. I take petroleum engineering courses, but the way school in the US is you get to choose most of the courses you take. So they tell you electives that these are the electives you're supposed to take, of which there are 4. I'm supposed to take advanced production, advanced reservoir, and advanced drilling. Then I'm supposed to take a mathematics class, right? And then all the other courses I take are electives suited to my research or areas I'm interested in, my areas of interest, right? So the courses I've taken so far, I took one in gas engineering, I took one in well test analysis because they are related to gas engineering, and I want to go into gas engineering, specifically CO2 sequestration and utilization. That is my area of research. So you can kind of tailor the courses you take to your area of research. But then my data science degree is a non-thesis option. So I'm doing 33 credits. So if you're doing research, you do 30 credits. If you're not doing research, you do 33 credits. So I'm doing 33 credits, meaning I'm not doing research. But then what I've kind of found out is I'm getting to a point where I'm able to combine all 3 together. For instance, for one of my data science courses in financial engineering, I'm to work on a project. And the first thing that came to my mind was to do something CO2 related, right? So I'm currently doing like a risk-based analysis on investments for CO2 projects. I mean, I could have done something stock exchange, but the first area of interest that comes to me is something that has to do with my current area of research. Because like I said, it is my area of research. So to answer your question, well, in being honest, my research in CO2, which is what my thesis is going to be on, is heavily bound on not renewable energy, but in the long run, enhancing, reduction of greenhouse effects and impact on climate change, because what I'm working on is optimizing methods for removing CO2 from the environment and trying to store it or utilize it efficiently and stuff like that. So to answer your question, they are different things, right? So like I can apply for a job and say, well, there are scholarships I've applied for, and I don't even put my data science degree because maybe for that scholarship, they needed to have a petroleum engineering major. So I just put my petroleum engineering degree and use that to apply. And there are some positions I've applied for and they needed data scientists. Of course, I will not put my petroleum engineering degree. I'll just put my data science degree and my undergrad in petroleum engineering. I mean, I like the way the school has coined it. Kudos to my school, by the way, in such a way that you can be flexible with it. So you can be an alls man, or you can choose one, the way you want to handle it. But personally, everything I'm learning is going into the research I'm currently doing.
Okay, thank you. I believe that's answered your question. So go to the next question. So, okay, I've been told that it's almost impossible to get into MIT, Stanford, INTC in graduate level. How true is this? A lot suggests it's better to go to safe schools. Would you also give a similar advice?
Okay, so that's a good question. So first of all, the same thing I'll tell everybody that I've told before. MIT is a great school. Stanford is a great school. But mind you that every course has its own Ivy League, right? Every course has its Ivy League, basically, or, in quotes, every course has its own Ivy League. Every program has its own Ivy League. Now, this is Society of Petroleum Engineers. So let me assume, I know this might not be true, that most of us are petroleum engineers. Now, if you're a petroleum engineer and you say you want to go to Stanford, that's great, honestly. Stanford is a great school. I think it's the best school for petroleum engineering in the US. But you want to go to MIT, they don't offer petroleum engineering. You want to go to Oxford or Yale, they don't offer petroleum engineering. So you have to know the school you want to go into and Google top schools or check top schools in that in that area, sorry, the area you want to go into. When I wanted to go into school, the first thing I did, and my friend Prosper, I don't know if he's on this meeting, but I always give acknowledgement to him because we worked this journey together. We first of all Googled top schools for petroleum engineering in the US, right? And the likes of Stanford was there, Texas A&M, of course OU, Texas Tech, and I can't remember the rest. I didn't want to go to Stanford. Stanford is a great school, but I thought it was too good for me, right? I felt like I could not read enough to get into Stanford, or, you know, I needed to have had a 320 in my GRE or something out of the box that I really wasn't aiming for. I mean, I was good. I was good. I was okay with good, right? So I didn't even bother applying to Stanford. I applied to Texas A&M. I applied to OU. I applied to Texas Tech because I felt like my profiles could match those schools. Of course, there are other schools that offer petroleum engineering. You have University of Houston, you have University of Kansas. I applied to that as well. You have Missouri School of Science. I think there are 15 schools that offer petroleum engineering, but I applied for like the top three, no, not the top three, like the middle three, like after the first one, the next three in the middle, because I didn't want to go for that one because I thought it was too good for me, and I went for the next three. So depending on your course of study, there are like top schools for those courses. So you have to do your own research and apply very well in that school. Now, after you've decided, I mean, a big consideration was for me was that I wanted to go to a high ranking school. I didn't want to go to a school that was ranking the same thing as the school where I did my undergrad, and my undergrad school was already in like top 500 in the world or something like that. So I had to do my research thoroughly. Another thing is that you also have to know yourself. I personally, like I said, everything, I mean, I put on my slides, everything I'm saying here is personal opinion. I'll advise one top school, one medium school, and 2 safe schools. Personally, and you should not take that advice. Why? Because me, I entered into my top school. In short, my 2 safe schools did not even give me funding. It was just my top and my medium school that gave me funding. So you should not take that advice actually, but that is what I'll advise. It just gives you like some room of comfort and some room to lean back on. Because I have a friend that she wanted to apply to my school, and at the point she kept on telling me that I told her this, my advisor, you know, I'll advise to go for one top school, one medium school, and 2 safe schools. If you have money, I applied to 6 schools. If you have money, you can apply to more based on your capacity. So I told her that this, and she's like, she feels like OU is too good for her. All that. I'm like, see, that's the thing. In as much as you want to apply to safe and medium schools, you should not use your hands to belittle yourself, right? You have credentials that can make you stand out for other people. So it's honestly, sincerely up to you. You should not, because the truth is that if you apply to a safe school and you're too good, they know you're using them as a safe school because you're too good for them. If you apply for a top school and you're not up to the standard of that top school, they know that you're not up to this, you're not part of our ideal candidate. So you know yourself best, you know your GP, you know your strengths, you know how good you've been volunteering, you know the presence you have on LinkedIn, you know yourself best. So based on that, I feel like you should check out schools in, you know, different schools and rank them yourself. OU is not the best school for petroleum engineering in the US. It's like 2nd or 3rd best, but OU was my top school because I felt like, I mean, OU is really good for me, and I felt like I could get it to OU, of which I still did not even meet their GRE cutoff. I mean, we are here now. So you know yourself best is the advice I'll give, and based on that, you should know the ranking you do, basically.
Okay. So we have another question here. It says, is getting scholarships only for first-class graduates? Can 2-1 graduates have scholarships too?
Getting scholarship is not only for first-class graduates. That is a very, 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 very big misconception. In short, I have seen first-class graduates that do not get scholarship. First class is not everything. First class is not everything. I'm serious. It's not even half of it. I mean, in the US, they don't even understand this as first class. No, they just have a GP system in their own ranking over 4. Now, I'll give an instance. I have a friend that finished with a 4.47. That is a 2-1 in our Nigerian ranking system. But by the time he converted his results to the US ranking system over 4, it was like a 3.57, which is a first class in their own system, right? So a first class is not everything. They have a minimum, each school has a minimum GPA they want you to attain. Once you've passed that benchmark, it's like a system based. They've checked for you, okay, you've passed this particular one. Okay, what next do you have for us to consider you? Now, if you follow my YouTube channel, the last video I uploaded, it was a panel session where we discussed this thing in depth. However, it was for PhD students. And there was one of the panelists that said she finished with a 2-2 and she got full funding, the full ride. And she didn't have PhD now. So, I mean, don't limit yourself. I feel like if you have enough passion, you can get it done. In short, I've even seen people that have like HNDs, ONDs, and they come to the US for their PhDs. This same thing I'll tell everybody. There is a school for everybody. There is a school for everybody in the US. You have to understand yourself very well, understand your profile, do your research well. That is something people don't like. They want people to do their research for them. I see people come in to tell me, Karen, somebody will come inside the group and say, how can I apply for physics scholarships? I'm like, this is a WhatsApp group. Are we supposed to have a documentary of all the scholarships for a particular course? Somebody will come, I studied mathematics. Can I get linked to scholarships? This is not Google, it's a WhatsApp group. Somebody will come and say, Karen, your spreadsheet of your school, send it to me. Why am I sending it to you? Are you going to apply to the schools I'm applying to? Do we do the same course? Do we have the same profile? Why am I sending it to you? I mean, I've sent you the template. Do your due diligence. Really, everybody says I want to go to school. I cannot really work. That's the truth of the matter. So,
between postgraduate research, expanding your knowledge. Just talk about our challenges.
Okay, sorry about that. So that's just it. I just feel like if you do your work, you do your due diligence, you find a school for you, irrespective of first class or second class, or just do your due diligence, know the requirements your school needs, and try to get them. And another thing I'll advise: volunteer a lot. Volunteer a lot. It will help you a long way. If you have any opportunity to volunteer, please, and please, I advise you volunteer. Thank you.
Okay, so we have one more question. Says, how can I get a supervisor for my master's in chemistry? It's been hard for me.
Okay, so from what I know, chemistry is one of the most funded courses in the US. So I don't understand why it's hard for you. Chemistry is like, this life is not equal. There are some schools I go to, you check my school, if you check my school's websites for graduate students, they'll tell you funding provided for students that qualify, right? There are some departments you check. When I was checking the physics, chemistry department, you see things like funding provided for almost all graduate students because they are always doing research. Do your research well. In short, I've come across links to, I don't know where it is now and I'm not going to get it, right? So, but I've come across links of databases of schools that give funding for chemistry, funding for petroleum engineering. I think I saw one on a group I'm on yesterday. So honestly, do your research well. In short, you can try to type top schools for funding institute courses because there are some schools you apply to. You know your profile meets this school. You know that this school, I'm your ideal candidate, but they don't have funding. Honestly, I almost went to University of Kansas. The lady I was in correspondence with, oh my God, she liked me. I liked her too. Of all the people, she was so polite. She was so encouraging because I didn't miss their GRE requirement as well. I'm not the smartest of people around, right? You just have to work smart. So I reached out to her like, I didn't miss the requirement for your department, but I think I have other things that can make me stand out. I have written the IELTS, I had an 8.0. The only thing is just my mathematics for my GRE, and I'm short of by 2 points. She was like, I really like your profile, apply. I'm like, okay. She kept carrying me along. In fact, when the pandemic started, she told me that she's still pushing for me to get funding. At the point she was still like that they said they will not give me because of my IELTS score is 8.0. If I can get 8.5, then I should go write another IELTS. Me, I was not going to write any other exam again. So that was when I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing this. But my point is, she really wanted me to join her team, but she did not have the funding. They didn't have the, if she had the money, she would not be putting me through all of that rudiment since she liked me. So there are times when you don't have, you can reach out to a professor. The professor likes you. I've seen it plenty times. The professor likes your profile, but he doesn't have the funding, right? So it is your job to do that research. Does this school have funding? Before you even apply, because if I'm honest with you, before I applied, I reached out to professors and asked them, will I be considered? That was my first question. Will I be considered for funding? Can I get an assistant? If I cannot get, I'm not applying. I mean, I paid for the entire process myself, right? I mean, my exams, my application fees, my flights, everything. So I was not going to be throwing money that I was sweating to make away. So I needed to have some assurance, even if it was a flicker of hope. You know, some people say, go ahead and apply. I don't have funding now, but I think I have funding later. I'll apply, because it's like if I reach out to you later and you have funding, fine and good. So I feel like you need to do your research and know, you know, does this school, do they have funding? Do they not have funding? Do they fund their graduate students? Do they not fund? Do they have thesis option? Don't they have? And things like that. And before you go ahead to apply, reach out to professors. The US is not like Nigeria, where in Nigeria, if you want to send email, you just say, it's only one of our lecturers that has to make it compulsory for us to send our email assignment. So that's the new lecturer use email. Here, they are very open. If you have any doubts, shoot them an email. If they don't reply, calculate the time difference. Monday morning, like 8 or 9 US time, shoot them another mail. By the time you shoot somebody mail 3-4 times, they'll answer you. So see, when you want to start this graduate school journey, which is the advice I'll give people, and it's the advice one of my mentors gave me when I was about to start, it is not, and I say this in almost all my webinars, it is not an either or. It's not I will do this or I will do this. You check or answer all questions. You apply everywhere. You do. I mean, if graduate school did not work out for me, I would have known that, okay, it is not God's plan, because I did everything I could do. You know, as somebody that was serious, I was serious about it. I did my research. I didn't just apply to one place, and I wasn't fixated on. Some people are, and it works for them. I wasn't fixated on it has to be the US or it has to be Canada. Or I just wanted to go for my master's, and anywhere was going to cut it for me. So yeah, any other questions?
So yes, thank you, Karen. We have like tons of questions here. So I'm going to merge a lot of questions that are like related together and then ask one more. So that's like 2 questions. So that will be done. So a lot of persons are asking what's the difference between fellowship and scholarship. So, and then which is better between being having a scholarship or doing an assistant researcher. And then the last question, that's one question. Then the last one I'll be going for is, sorry. This is okay. How can I?
One after the other, because I've told you I'm not a smart person now. Forget. Let's do one after the other. Eh?
Okay.
The first one, scholarship, fellowship. Honestly, I don't know the clear-cut definition between a scholarship and fellowship, except that I think fellowship is normally, so for a fellowship, it's like a body that will give it to you, and you know they will bestow it on. It seems more honorable. But in my opinion, scholarship, fellowship, they are in the same rank. You're giving money, take money, go to school, right? Assistantship or funding is another case. For funding, I mean, it's great. They will not just bring an anyhow person. They won't fund an anyhow person. It's a kind of scholarship, but to an extent, you're working for your money, right? So like you have a scholarship. If I had a scholarship to come to OU, all you see is that maybe in my awards, I'll put it there that I have a scholarship from so and so. But if I have an assistantship, I can put it that I was awarded an assistantship. But I'll also put it in my job experience because I'm actually working, right? Like I said, I'm doing research or I'm teaching or whatever, I'm working. So there's like more responsibility for my money. And in as much as, I mean, I would like them to say, take money, spend it. I think to an extent, I'm happy I'm working for my money because, like, I don't know, maybe it's the evil girl in me speaking. I'm entirely not comfortable when I'm handing out money. I still always feel like I need to give back. So I like that putting my weight, right, to get my money. It's my money, right? That's the difference between scholarship and assistantship or funding. Now, you can get full funding or partial funding, right? So if it, okay, so there are different types of assistantship. There is a 0.5. That means you work 20 hours a week. There is a 0.25. You work 10 hours a week. The amount of hours you work a week, they will multiply it by months to get the stipend they'll give to you at the end of the month, right? And then you can get full funding, which is the 0.5 and tuition waiver and all of that, depending on how your school does it. You can get a 0.25, which is partial funding, and you're supposed to pull your weight for the rest. I mean, it all depends on the oil on your head, basically, or, you know, I don't know how it works. But then, even if you have an assistantship or you have a fellowship, the US is not like Nigeria that they will say, if you've gotten a scholarship, you cannot apply for another one. I have an assistantship, but I still apply for scholarships, right? So scholarship is dependent on, so for assistantship is like, it comes from the school, right? But for scholarship, it's probably maybe from a body, they'll give it to you. Now, it is difficult to get like a scholarship that will handle your entire tuition, because in a year, my school fees is about $33,000. That's money. I don't think anybody can say, people do. If I'm being honest, I've seen people that are on full scholarships, but it's not as common as assistantships here. So because you're working to an extent, it's like sort of like a give and take relationship. And, you know, of course, before you even get it, you have to be qualified, right? It's getting it is an honor as well. It's not easy to get. You can get it, but I don't even get what I'm trying to say. But like, even on my scholarship, I can get like smaller scholarships, like $1,000 scholarship, $500 scholarship, $2,000 scholarship, small money like that I can just be using to, you know, that somebody can just be using to, you know. Yeah, so that's it.
Last question before we move on to the photo section. Said, how can I get GRE waiver from my university? So let me get that question right. Say, how can I get GRE and application fee waived for my application? Yes.
Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, that is between you and your university. I'm sorry if I sound rude or sarcastic, but that's the truth. It's between you and your university. I don't know. I did my GRE. I applied to all my schools with GRE. I paid for my application fees. But like I said, it's between you and your school. My brother was telling me of a school that they just had like, for a month, they are doing free application fee waiver. So he just wants to apply to it. I remember when I applied to 6 schools, but the last school I applied to, they were doing for a month too. They were doing like free, they were waiving application fees, and I applied. So it's between you and your school. You have to put your ears to the ground. I know some schools, if you attend webinars, they'll give you application waiver and things like that. You just it's between you and your school, really. You need to know the school you want to consider and put your ears to the ground to see. Now, if and I'm saying this with my chest, if your school doesn't have application fee waiver or doesn't have GRE, and you're in touch with somebody, and that is what is holding you from coming, my dear, close your eyes and get the money and do it. Don't allow $30 should charge you $30,000 is what I'm going to say, right? You have to be wise. Coming for grad school, anywhere you're going for grad school, is an investment in yourself. And I mean, it's good to buy properties, it's good to do all of that, but the greatest investment you have in this life is investment in yourself, because it is the one investment that nobody can take away from you. It is your choice to give or take. If you have the opportunity to do that, do it. So like me, with your chest, you can open your chest and you say you did it yourself, you know? I mean, the people are lucky, they get scholarships that even pay for for the application. I know Lagos section is currently doing one if you're a Lagos section member. Of course, you can apply for all of these things, but if they don't come your way, like they didn't come mine and you have the money, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but I think it's a good one. You should invest in yourself. Any other questions? Let me just check the chat section.
All right, thank you so much, Karen. We spent a lot of time on this question and answer section, and you've done justice. We're so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very sure that I speak for everyone here that when they say that we've learned a lot, and moving on here would like our applications will be more smooth now. So we look forward to positive feedbacks and success stories. Keep in mind that Study Globally, which is sponsoring this webinar session, is your admissions blog. So if you want to boycott most of those processes, especially when it has to do with the application fee and all that, you can go through Study Globally. Your admissions are sure. That's one thing I can guarantee for you. So we'll be moving on to the photo session. Please, if you have a picture available, where I am is not light enough, so I can't have my live session. So, but if you can, please put on your camera on so we can have a photo session. Thank you. Okay, that shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. And then we'll be moving on to the okay. Which I believe that's done.
No, just 1 more minute. Please on your camera. Some people's camera are still off. If possible, please on your camera for our records. Okay. I guess most people are in dark environments. Most cameras are off. Okay, I think Mr. Simeon, I think we're good to go now.
Yeah.
All right, Queen, take it from here.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be going on to the closing remark from Mr. Kachi, who is our programs manager. Mr. Kachi.
All right. Good evening once again to everyone. I'm sure you've had a very wonderful time. On behalf of the team, on behalf of Karen too, we want to thank you so much for being part of this epoch-making occasion of our webinar. I'm sure we've learned one or two things, and so many questions have been asked, and for which answers have been provided. And I'm sure that after now, it's just for us to begin to submit our applications. Mind you, what we request from you in Study Global is simple, just your documents. And your documents ranges from your CV, which is very important to us. Your documents ranges from your international passport, the scanned copy. We'll also be needing from you these other documents. So I would like you to even write them down if you want to. I said your CV, your international passport. Your English language proficiency is very, very important. That exam, either IELTS or even if it's TOEFL test of English as a foreign language, that is so important to us. We can also accept your WAEC result on NECO as long as you have done so well in English. So if you have 6 and above in English, that document is also important. Also note that what we'll be requesting from you again is your statement of purpose. That is also known as your personal statement. It's more or less like a motivation to study whatever course you want to study. So we will need you to also submit that to us. While we're also asking you for your statement of purpose, we will need you to also provide to us your academic transcripts. It's very, very important. So if you need to go and consult and contact your school where you finished from, you need to do that. Your academic transcript is very, very key. It's very important even as we apply for you. So these are 7 out of the 7 documents we requested. These are what I can read out now. If you check the chat box, you can also see as many as the other requirements are. Now, what happens is this, just like you've seen our own friend Karen, she's studying in the USA now, and you also want to achieve that as your own dream. So it's simple. What you need to do for us is just to send us your documents. If they are complete, we'll send them to our admissions team in the UK. They will start processing and helping you to look for schools wherein you are interested in. Once that is done, your funds are given to you, you get your admission. Once that is done, We also guide you as per your visa application processes. Once you are through with that, at the end of the day, you get your admission and possibly you find a way in the UK or the US, as the case may be. Now, once you are there, from the airport, we're already waiting for you to take you to your hostel and to your accommodation. And after that, we don't live in the lodge. What we do after that is to make sure that at least while you are schooling, you have your placement, or what we call, you can also work, you can do some part-time work. So this is part of what we do. So I want to just thank you especially for taking time to listen to our guest speaker and to say that even as the events will be wrapping up, just thank you once again and enjoy your time with us. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I did skip something. Thank you so much, Mr. Akachi, for that wonderful vote of thanks. We'll have an announcement from Mr. Simeon. Simeon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Please proceed, Simeon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, all. I also want to use this medium to appreciate Study Globally for their support and also creating awareness for students and young professionals who want to study abroad. Thank you very much. And also, very quickly, I will be going through, give you a brief summary of SPE activity. SPE is Society of Petroleum Engineers. We are a worldwide forum of individual member organizations, serving managers, engineers, scientists, and also all professionals. Even those in the academic, they are also member of SPE. So as you can see on your screen, we are the second largest in Nigeria, covering about 6 states. And also we have our student chapters, and also our membership is growing daily. For this, there's an update. There's an update on that. We just received our 2021 Presidential Award for Outstanding Section in recognition of our effort in technical knowledge, dissemination, operation, and also community outreach, and also in our various innovation. So if you can go to the next slide. Okay, on your screen, you can see the various benefits of being an SPE member. You have your SPE online education, SPE Connect, your GPT. From this, even while our presenter was presenting, she also made mention that you have to volunteer a lot. So here in Port Harcourt session, we have different platforms that you can also volunteer. They are also part of the benefit you get as being an SPE member. Can you go to the next slide? So you can connect with us here in Port Harcourt session. All you need to do, type SPE Port Harcourt session in your social media handle, you'll find us there. Or you can also send us a mail, spphc@gmail.com. We'll attend to you. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, this is some of our upcoming events. The first one by your left-hand side is our annual general meeting, 2021 annual general meeting, which will be coming up on Tuesday, 27 July 2011 by 4 p.m. Though it's an hybrid event, but you can connect virtually or be dropping the link on the chat box. The link is also on the flyer there. And also the other one is our monthly technical meeting that will be coming up on the 12th of August, 2021. And the topic is, what does pressure have to do with it? Uncovering the hidden value in your data. Can you go to the next slide? Okay, thank you very much. So you can connect with us in all our social media platforms. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Simeon.
Very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
We're so grateful for SPE being a partner in this webinar. And volunteering is a very wonderful thing, and SPE encourages that a lot. So I would really appreciate if those of us are in SPE backup section or Lagos section. Can I have your closing remarks so we can close? Hello, Inse.
Okay, that being said, please, we can listen.
Okay, since it says, please lead us in the closing prayer.
Any of the participants, please, you can unmute yourself and help us with the closing prayer, please.
Okay, let us pray.
Okay, let's pray.
Thank you.
So, Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this privilege to get this such key information that will be vital for our life pursuit and academic journey. We want to thank you for the organizers, the moderators, and the speaker whom you've prepared for us this particular day. We say, Father, be glorified in the mighty name of Jesus. Father, as we leave this meeting, Lord, Father, everything that we've learned, everything that we've had, we are not going to leave them behind, but we'll put them into practice and take positive action that will help us in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father. Help us to enjoy the rest of our weekend, Lord. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. On behalf of the team, I want to thank you very much. So we do have a wonderful night rest, and our webinar will be taking place again next month. So please note that your contributions are needed. If you need, you can also visit us in our offices in Harcourt and also in Lagos, and I'm sure you get attention from us. So thank you very much. Do have a wonderful night rest. See you again next month. God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
thank you, Mr. Simeon. I appreciate you.